And we're live. Roll up, everybody. I'm not really expecting too many people with this session because one, it was advertised too late, and two, the time advertised has changed. So not expecting too many people on this session, but if you watch it back, then you watch it back. So this is almost certainly going to be one of those watch back sessions. But if you are here, say hello as you come in and click on this link to come join live on screen. So matters don't relent within the Nigerian space, and we're still speaking to that space. Going on now, the Ipob movement responds to the position taken by the Southern governors. Dave Umahi responds to Abubakar Malami. So plenty to go through. So let me just put that in again. Click here if you want to come join live on screen. I'm retyping it because I prefer to have it up in capital letters. So straight into it we go. No dilly-dallying. So guys, I bring you this. NNAMDI Kanu declares position on restructuring. So, of course, the hot burning topic of a discussion within the Nigerian space, restructuring, a position now adopted universally, essentially within the South. But how universal is that adoption of that position? Because, of course, the Ipob movement is a significant block within the Southern narrative, and the lead of that movement takes a position now in response to the position taken by the Southern governors. Again, the headline, NNAMDI Kanu declares position on restructuring. So now let's now see now what the Alpha One of the Igbo people has to say. Mazi NNAMDI Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, has kicked against the Southern governor's call for restructuring of Nigeria. Correspondents recall that the Nigerian governor, under the aegis of Southern Nigerian Governors Forum on May the 11th, resolved for the restructuring of the country to end agitation for secession in the region. The governors made the decision in Asaba, the Delta State capital, whilst deliberating on how to curb deteriorating security situation in their respective states and other parts of the country. However, the IPOB leader, in a tweet on Friday via his Twitter handle, said Nigeria needs secession, not restructuring. According to him, restructuring may not end the bad governance that stimulated the agitation for separation. Do you want Nigeria restructured to the 1960 era that lasted only 6 years, or to Aburi that drove you all mad enough to commit genocide? Will this be your new restructuring? Will this, your new restructuring, turn bad men into good? It won't. What Nigeria needs is dismemberment, not some dodgy restructuring, NNAMDI Kanu tweeted. So several things to unpick from that. So he's outrightly rejecting restructuring, which is, of course, within his rights to do. But then the reasons that is adducing is not really one that probably holds water to a lot of people, because he says, according to him, restructuring may not end bad governance that stimulated the agitation for separation. But then, of course, separation may not also end bad governance. Almost certainly will not, because the same actors that are in the political terrain will still be almost certainly, give or take a few, the same actors that will be in play when the country, or if the country balkanizes into ethnic nations. So dividing the country is not a guarantee, is not even a pathway to good governance, and it is not the panacea to bad governance. So a bit of a feeble reason there. And it goes on to say, do you want Nigeria restructured to the 1960 era that lasted only 6 years? So it lasting only 6 years does not in any way negate its credibility as a good structure, because I think Nigeria then in the 60s was broken into about 3 regions or so: the Western region, the Eastern region, and the Northern region, just loosely. You can correct me on that. But if we go back to that time, that is not to say that system will not work, given the fact that it only lasted 6 years, because the interruption, of course, was for reasons outside of the Constitution. So that also doesn't really hold that much water. And it goes all to the Aburi that drove you all mad enough to commit genocide. Again, the same arguments are the Aburi, the failure of Aburi is entirely down to the ethnic politicking of that period. And that is really something that sits outside of the Aburi Accord as well. So it says, will this your new restructuring turn bad men into good? Our balkanization will not turn bad men into good as well. So that is Nnamdi Kanu taking a position on restructuring, an abject rejection of the idea. But then, of course, the reasons why he's adducing for that are not one that a lot of people might give a lot of credence to. So that's that one. So we go now to Governor Dave Umahi, who responds to Abubakar Malami, the supposed Attorney General of the Federation, by letter, but by practice, the Attorney General of the Northern people. So vested interest and pecuniary interest and tribal and ethnic interest, I bring you this. People like Malami are the reason Southeast supports IPOB's ESN. Governor Umahi is saying this. So the greatest recruiter for the Ipob movement are elements like Malami, essentially, is what the governor is saying. Again, the headline, people like Malami are the reason Southeast support IPOB's ESN, a headline attributed to Governor Umahi. So now let's now see how he justifies this statement. The Ebonyi State Governor, Dave Umahi, has called on the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami SAN, to be mindful of his utterances as words and actions by government officials are the reason why many people in the Southeast tend to support the military arm of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, the Eastern Security Network. Umahi, who was a guest on Channel Television's program on Thursday, was reacting to Malami's comments during the week, where he compared banning of open grazing by southern governors to banning spare part dealing by northern governors. The governor said, anyone opposed to the ban on open grazing is saying that the killings going on in different parts of the country, especially in the south, should continue. The Ebonyi governor pointed out that the killings and destructions of farm in the southeast by herdsmen gave birth to Eastern Security Network and the rise of other ethnic militia groups in the south to protect their people, as it seems they have lost faith in the federal government's ability to protect them. Umahi added that though governors in the region do not support the Eastern Security Network, the people seem to have more trust in them than the federal government, and such statements coming from Malami would further alienate the people and cause more distrust for the government. Umahi stressed that the government has Umahi stressed that the federal government has been advised to treat cattle rearing as businesses by funding ranches, especially in the north, adding that even though the northern governors are willing, the move is being frustrated by individuals with vested interest. In the south, we don't have cattle routes, but in the north they have. So nobody is going to say let's ban open grazing in some parts of the north where there are cattle routes, the way they move constitutionally from one point to the other. But in the south, there are no cattle routes. For you to move with your cattle from one point to the other, you have to move through farms, you have to move through population dense areas, and this is not very good. And that, of course, that's of course what the southern governors and in particular the southeast are saying. Let's go back to our traditional method of relationship. We will no longer allow you take your cattle from one local government to the other. And the implication is that these foreign herders also come in terms of mobile herders with AK-47. So anybody that says there should be no ban on open grazing is on the other hand saying that these killings should continue, and that's what gave birth to ESN, whether we support it as governors or we don't. But the people tend to support it because of the foreign herders that pretend to be rearing cattle and they are killing people. We encourage the federal government, let's treat this cattle rearing as businesses. Take money from the federal account and develop ranches where there are designated ranches, especially in the north, and the northern governors are willing, but it is being frustrated. So another slap back at Malami, of course, the ridiculous man. So it is absolutely now clear that Malami and people like him and Ahmed Lawan are essentially agents of the North within the federal structure of Nigeria. So this can only be the reading of their public pronouncements because, of course, there is no other characterization to everything that we hear from these people apart from and outside of a support for their people. So I was just going to bring you a final story if I can find it, and if I can't, okay, I think I have found it. So we were speaking to the narrative of Abubakar Shekau yesterday, the Boko Haram lead person that has been taken down by the Islamic West African province, ISWAP, as it's loosely called. So now there was a bounty of $7 million on Shekau's head by the Americans, but it looks as though they are now reneging on that bounty. As guys, I bring you this. ISIS won't get $7 million bounty placed on Shekau, says the United States. So United States reneging on their promise, on their bounty, because of course, they did not state that anybody was exempt when they put that bounty on Shekau. But alas, ISIS won't get $7 million bounty placed on Shekau, a headline attributed to the United States. So now let's now see now how the Americans break a deal. The United States State Department has said the Islamic State in West African province will not get the $7 million bounty it placed on Abubakar Shekau. Just bear with me. Okay, so the United States State Department has said the Islamic State in West African province will not get the $7 million bounty placed on Abubakar Shekau, leader of the Boko Haram sect. Responding to reports on the death of the terrorist leader, the State Department said the bounty is not meant for a group under ISIS. So, responding to the reports of the death, the State Department are saying that the bounty is not meant for ISIS, but then, of course, they never stipulated this when they put the bounty out in the first instance. So, of course, I don't want ISIS getting any money, but a promise is a promise, and a contract is a debt. It's a debt, rather, not a debt, but a debt. Alas, it looks as though the Americans are reneging. It continues. News reports today indicate that Boko Haram terrorist Abubakar Shekau blew himself up in front of the ISIS affiliates hey, ISIS guys, to clarify, no, you are not eligible for the reward for information on his identity or location. That is not how the program works, the United States Department of Justice tweeted. So they are trying to use funky language and trying to be cute, but then of course they did not stipulate that anybody was exempt. So of course, I mean, this is just this is a legal maze that somebody can challenge. Actually, on June 21, 2012, the United States Department of State designated Shekau as a specially designated global terrorist under the Executive Order 13224. 1 year later, a 7 million bounty was placed on him. Abubakar Shekau is the leader of the Jumat al-Sunnah and something or the other, some words I cannot read, more commonly known as Boko Haram. Boko Haram, which means Western education is forbidden, is a Nigeria-based terrorist organization that seeks to overthrow the current Nigerian government and replace it with a regime based on Islamic laws. The group has existed in various forms since the late 1990s. There are reported communications, trainings, and weapon links between Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda in the lands of the Islamic Maghreb, Al-Shabaab, and Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, which may strengthen Boko Haram's capacity to conduct terrorist attacks, reads the report of the Justice Department when the bounty was issued. So the Americans reneging on a bounty placed on Shekau. Cyril, what says you? Should ISIS get the reward for taking what is his name down, the Boko Haram guy? Good afternoon. Are you there, Cyril? Are you eating more in there or something? What's going on? Are you ready? Yeah. What says you, Cyril? Yeah. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So the Americans put a bounty of 7.
I've been.
Yeah. Sorry. Carry on.
No, you're saying something. I'm listening.
No, the Americans put a bounty of $7 million on Abubakar Shekau, the leader of the Boko Haram movement. So now the leader has been taken down by Islamic movement in the West African province, ISWAP, which is an arm of ISIS. So the Americans are now telling us that they're not going to pay ISIS the $7 million that they placed on Shekau. So what says you? A deal is a deal. They did not tell us that our terrorists were not allowed to collect the money when they put the bounty out. Are they reneging on a deal?
I think first and foremost, the fact that the Americans have lent their voice, they have actually made a comment regarding to the terrorist leader, Abubakar Shekau. It therefore means that this time is dead for real. Because I remember that twice or thrice they've announced it for him to resurface. So I think
yes, that guy he has more lives than a cat. I think this will be the third time that he's dying now. So is it dead now, or is it just dead? Because his own dying is different from how many times have the Nigerian government killed him only for him to turn up into a market in Borno, blowing up people.
In some of the cases, they even showed a photograph of him, how they killed him, and all of it, which you can still find online. But all of a sudden, the man came up to say they're lying, that he's alive, and he started. He continued with his whatsoever his course. But now that they said he's dead, and we are getting a response from United States, it therefore means that there is a level of credibility to this particular news. But as regards to whether United States of America will have to pay that that bounty to ISIS, I don't think there's difference between ISWAP and Boko Haram. They are the same people. They are the same terrorists.
I'm only joking, of course. I'm sure you know that. But really, is it cause for celebration? Is it cause for celebration, claiming that ISIS has taken down Shekau? Because I'm not quite sure if anything different has happened, or are we even not worse off now than we were before?
ISWAP that pledged their allegiance to ISIS, led by Abanawi, is worse than Boko Haram.
Exactly. From frying pan to fire.
They are now the one fully in charge of, they are now in charge of Sambisa, completely in charge. There is no force contending them. It therefore means that we are more in a deeper mess than we were in before he was killed. There's need for liberation, and I think it's even on the face of the military to say it was ISWAP that eventually killed Shekau.
Look at all the years. Look at all the decades, years that they've been chasing this guy, and suddenly this ISWAP just strolled into Sambisa Forest and surrounded him. ISWAP, by the way, not a real Nigerian-based organization, so they are able to casually stroll into the forest and effect the arrest or demise of this guy. But the Nigerian military structures, with over $50 billion spent on this thing, they're still nowhere near even knowing where the guy is, never mind being able to do anything about it. It's just it's a joke.
This is more or less an indictment on the military of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. ISWAP that eventually ended the life of Shekau is a group that broke away from the Boko Haram group. When the negotiation was going on then in the north, when Obasanjo went, the uncle to the late Boko Haram founder, that was when they had that conflict, when they were considering having a dialogue with the federal government after the leader was killed. So Shekau was bent on a revenge, was bent on furthering the cause of the leader of the original leader of Boko Haram. So they had a confrontation. Then there was a division among these two, in the group that led to ISWAP, who later pledged allegiance to ISIS. So they are still the same people there. And this one is worse because it has an international undertone. ISIS of West Africa is part of this. So there's nothing has changed. It just goes to show that there is a lot of political undertone in all of this. If they could not get this guy down, but they can get information that the guy is dead. So who gave them that information? That means there's a kind of
they are claiming military intelligence is aware, but when they say an oxymoron, you cannot say military and intelligence in Nigeria because those are two opposing words. They were not aware of any intelligence in the military in Nigeria, so that of course is just a made-up term. But what they are telling us is that military intelligence had been monitoring this, and they were the first to give confirmation to the fact that Shekau was taken down. But then, of course, you had elements like Adamu Gaba going all over the media space, cheering and celebrating and popping champagne. Well, I'm not quite sure if you understand what exactly just happened, because is ISWAP now acting on behalf of the Nigerian people to help them, or what does he think is happening? It's just a total nonsense. But to NNAMDI Kanu, he has come out to respond to the Nigerian governor's, southern governor's position, asking for restructuring. He's rejecting it completely, saying that
from a friend.
yeah.
empower Boko Haram to ISIS or to fight ISWAP, so that eventually when they're able to defeat ISWAP, then they will go after Boko Haram. That was the strategy they planned to adopt prior to the death of this Shekau. Now that Shekau has been killed, to them, Shekau is even a lesser evil. It's a lesser evil than Ambanawi himself, because Ambanawi has an international connection. Shekau is just in local within Sambisa. Ambanawi have a connection with ISIS. So they wanted to empower Shekau the more, so that he can see how they can decimate ISWAP. Then they go after the one that is a lesser evil. But now the one that has foreign backing has been able to overcome the one that has just a local political whatsoever undertones around that place. So they should even be more worried. It is not a case of coming online to have like maybe you're
won the
victorious or
World Cup.
something.
You like they won the World
like
Cup.
You've won World Cup. This is the man you've been going after. The other time, the late Chadian president went in Sambisa. We knew he almost captured Shekau. We know what happened. He was there. Shekau released a video crying and soliciting for support from Islamic bodies that do the same. But immediately he released that video. I think that was when the military came to say, the Nigerian military, I don't know what they were trying to prove then, to bring in their politics and ensure that the guy left the Sambisa forest. As at the point that he was closing down on that same Shekau that they are announcing to us that is there, like they have won a trophy, World Cup Champions League. I don't know how we are going to deal with these obvious lies and misinformation from our country, Nigeria. It's so hard, troubling, and so.
Yes, politics with human lives. They are playing politics because if they had let that's about the second time or so that Idris Deby, the former president of what was it, Niger or Chad or whichever country, that they came into that territory of Chad, that they came into that territory to confront Boko Haram and defeat them. But anytime that they are just about to finish off Boko Haram, the Nigerian military structures will come and push them back because they don't want to be embarrassed by the fact that a foreign troop has come to do what they are unable to do in 20, 30 years. So they are happy to play politics rather than look for whatever needs to be done. Even the Americans, they ask for coalition wherever they feel that they need other people's expertise. But of course, the Nigerian system are very peculiar. But to NNAMDI Kanu, he's come out to reject outrightly the restructuring, saying that it is secession or nothing.
Yeah, restructuring, secession. When you look at restructuring, the way we will want it in the South, I don't see it as something that the people in the North are ready to grant. I have looked at it as it was advanced by the governors of the South and some other opinion molders in the South, what they think of restructuring. I've listened to Bakari explain what he told Buhari then when they were going for the seat of the presidency together, when he was running a ticket with Buhari, that he told him about restructuring. And Buhari, when Buhari started saying he does not understand what restructuring, he went to tell Buhari what restructuring is, explain further, and he gave him, according to him, a document that explains what restructuring is. But if you look at restructuring, sir, you will discover that it's not something that these people will grant, because restructuring to them is akin to secession. When you pull the power from the center and take it to the region, the component regions, and you have them, or the federating units, you have them have access to their resources, they have access to their police.
You know, the greatest fear, Cyril.
Like,
the greatest fear that the North has is a South that has arms. So that is why they will forever resist something like the state police, etc., because they don't want any arms in the arms of the Southerners, because the only thing that the North has as a potency to control the Nigerian state is arms. And of course, as soon as the southern regions are armed, then that is the end of it for the North. That is their own understanding. But Cyril, it's a short session, so thank you, unless you just want to say a couple more words, and then I'll hear from Egbaman. Oh, Cyril has left. So, Egbaman, what says you? Just a quick word from you as I seek to round off.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I saw the interview about a few hours ago of Malami on Channel TV.
Yes.
About that. That's shocking. Like coming from the Attorney General of the country. That reminded me of.
But is it really the Attorney General of the country, or is it just the Attorney General of the North?
Of the federal.
Because,
but yes, that there's this synonym to me, like the undertone. When you mention federal government, in my mind, you say the North. It's like a replacement word. Like it's like the federal government pretty much represents the North part of the country. And if you've studied the documentary of how wars in Central African republics started,
there's some echo to your. I'm not quite sure where you are or what system you're using. Are you hands free? If you're using some hands, are you using?
No, I'm using a mic. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but anyway, carry on. Just
yeah,
land it.
I was just saying that the echoes of war are kind of brimming up. The way people in government are sounding in the house and the government, it's scary. I know I've always said that I wanted one Nigeria before. I've said that before, but the way these people are, it's like, Cyril, let me just ask you, maybe it's just me. It's like people in government know something is about to come up, but like you said, everybody knows something is coming, but nobody knows what it is. That is the feeling I get each time I work with people. Know something is not right. They know something is coming up. Nobody knows what it is, but for some reason we are prepared for something that nobody has an idea of. But for some reason, we all have a feeling that something is about to happen.
Well, people know that something is coming and they have an idea what it is. What they know that is coming is that the Nigerian system is going to change permanently and forever. But how that change comes into effect is really what our people are anxiously in anticipation of. So because a lot of narratives, there's the restructuring narrative, there's the secession narrative, there's the drumbeats of war, there's ethnic jingoism, there's local champions emerging from surprising quarters, people like Igboho, etc. So certainly the direction is taking shape, but how it lands and it manifests itself is what people are in anticipation of.
And that's what is scary, because I would tend to lean more towards disaster than anything positive, being the unknown that we are waiting for. Because all the indicators, you can see that it's not going to end up well for any side if we keep going this way. That's my issue. Like we say, we don't know what it is. I think we know what it is. We're just too afraid to admit.
No, you said we don't know what it is. I think people know what it is.
Yeah, I'm saying that, like I've always been for one Nigeria. When I come on your show, you know that. So I'm a one Nigeria guy. But at this point, for the sake of peace, I think it's just better everybody just sit down on the round table. If you are for Odudua Republic, anything you are for, just let's have a conversation at this point. Whatever you are for,
but they have rejected that though, because Shekau say whatever I say that the spokes.
Who are they that rejected that? Who are they?
They are Bokis.
Then start off, like I said before, with the Showdown conference. They came together, right? Start with the conference of the South.
No, but we've already had that. The Southerners have met and fleshed out their position. And the lopsidedness of the appointments they are rejecting, the structure of the country they are rejecting, open grazing they are rejecting, the sharing formula for the federation, for the federal wealth they are rejecting. So the Southern position is agreed and is placed on the table.
No. My point is, let's have like a conference, like an actual conference of the South.
No, we've already had that. What purpose will the conference serve other than to come out with a position? And we already have a position.
No, because it puts the North on the spot. That's my point. It forces them to position. Because
yes, that is where we are now. We have a position now which we have put on the table, and they are rejecting it.
Right, but okay. So, how can we peacefully resolve this? Because that is my own.
Yes, so that's the ongoing conversation now, because the Southerners are asking for restructuring, a realignment of the appointments at the federal level, and a realignment of the revenue sharing formula, and end to open grazing. So those are some of the marquee points that the Southerners have agreed on, but the North is rejecting all of that outrightly. So that is the conversation now as it stands.
Yes, and even in the House, when I think the rep was from South, I don't know, maybe Port Harcourt or something, he was trying to speak in the House today, and he was once again battered down by the deputy, the same idiot that said for Nigerians in the foreign countries can't say anything, whatever. He kind of battered him down. That it's like anything you bring up is dead on arrival. That has to do with restructuring. They don't want to hear anything about restructuring at all.
But you see where we are now is that positions are now defined. So you cannot now tell the South that they cannot want or request for restructuring, and or they cannot have it either, because if that is what they want, and then that is what they want. So between them wanting that and you trying to resist that is where the narrative is now. So something has to give way now on the 12-point agenda that has been agreed and presented by the Southern positions. So that is really where we are now.
Right. Okay, so we have a position collectively. I'm glad to hear that the South is finally coming together, because it's not something that we oftentimes see. I'm glad to hear that. But how do we push it forward? Because this is the time I expect our senators or our rep members to make the push. I know the governors have done their own part, but I expect to start hearing from our senators and our rep members, because at this point also we need the middle belters to start speaking up, because they, to me, are the key to this happening. For them to break that deadlock of the Fulani North, we need the middle belt to be the tiebreaker, because numbers matters in politics. So, and if this ever gets to vote, you're going to need them to sway the vote. So that's where I think this is heading to. If the different
all right.
to the floor.
All right. Just to say to the people on the platform, if you are not subscribed, then please subscribe. And if you have not liked the video, then please like it. We're actually looking to round off. So just a couple more words from you, Egba Man, and then we hear final words from Cyril as well. So a couple more words from you, Egba Man.
Okay. Proud advocate for One Nigeria until a few days ago. And my greatest fear and my worry is that, based on what I'm seeing, it's going to end. Nigeria is going to end, but I'm afraid it's not going to be a peaceful dissolution.
All right. Hopefully it will be, but more likely it will not. Thank you, Egba Man. We reconvene for 10:30. Cyril, just you left before you could finish what you were saying. Cyril.
Yeah, oh man, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. In regards to the restructuring and succession push, like I said, there's no difference section in the eye of a northerner, mostly the Fulani people, the people who are currently holding sway to power. Because once you move that, what they are controlling away from them to the component region, that the center will no longer be attractive. And this is what they want to maintain. I do not see a peaceful resolution to this, because once you move that power, they will not be able to compete. You know, the Southerners, they can, you know, find their way around things, but that competition wouldn't be favorable to them. So they wouldn't want to relinquish that power they are holding that makes them relevant in the system to the people in the South. So if the South have two options. Is either they agree to maintain status quo and remain as second-class citizens in Nigeria, or they are ready for a showdown. And that showdown wouldn't be a case of a vote, because those guys at the top wouldn't even give a room for that vote, even if they discover that you're able to garner population, even in the houses. Look at it now. The governor of Cross River State, Benayade, has cross-carpeted to APC from PDP.
You say even
They all
that cross
have the
carpet?
money.
Let's use the right term. He has been bought. He has been bought is
He's
really the
been
term.
bought. Now, if you want to talk about numbers, even in the house, before they get to the house, a lot of them would have been threatened, because their hands are all soiled. A lot of them would have been threatened, a lot of them would have been bought, even among the southern governors that sat down. If you have a conference of all of them or a vote, you discover some of them wouldn't even vote for the things that they stood for or they all agreed upon, if it's not an open election, because these people would have been bought, they would have been given money to, they would have been threatened. These things like that, and we know the Nigerian is. If it is even clear to them that once there is a sitting in the house and that sitting will not favor the North or will not favor the power that be, they can come up with anything and tell you that the city can't hold. They can even make use of any force. They can bring down the National Assembly if that will make them hold sway to power. So that's the reason why I do not see how it becomes peaceful. Rather, it can only be peaceful if the Southerners decide to let it be the way it is. But if they want to change the status quo, we should be prepared for something that is akin to a war, even if it's not a full-blown war, but lives are going to go for the status quo to be changed. That's just my position.
All right, thank you, Cyril. A short session, so we'll leave it there. We reconvene for 10:30 tonight. If you are less busy, then please join us. So that is Cyril. He's quite categorical in his statement. So the Ebonyi State Governor responds to Abubakar Malami. NNAMDI Kanu responds to restructuring, and the Americans are reneging on the bounty that they placed on Abubakar Shekau because he has been taken down by somebody that they're not especially enamored by. So that has been the narration, a short and to the point session. So I'll leave it here, carry the conversation on with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.